Good morning, everybody. How wonderful to see everybody. It's a beautiful day here. I have bifocals, so I have to sometimes move them when I'm talking to people. I'm reading or looking at things. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert. I'm a shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women who are narcissistic and toxic relationships from the whole gamut, from birth to, or even before birth, even before conception, family lineage, to romantic partner goes wrong, goes south fast, and you find out that they're, crazy and have mental health, and you're just desperately trying to get yourself out. Or if you're in a relationship long term with a narcissist, and you need to figure out how to manage and cope with it for the long term, because right now you're not ready to do anything different, and all that's cool. So today we're talking about, can you rewire the anxiety that is caused by a narcissist? So, a lot of women, the anxiety started when they were children. When you're children and you are highly sensitive and you're compassionate and empathic and all that neat stuff, then if you have a narcissist in your life, whether it's your mother or your father, and it seems like the mothers actually do a lot more damage. Narcissistic fathers were able to sort of be like, yeah, well, that's the way fathers are. But when a mother is a narcissist, it really sort of, stabs you in the heart even deeper. And so what happens is when we're a child, we're not capable of dealing with a narcissist. We're capable of surviving, and we come up with great coping skills, people pleasing or learning how to defend ourselves or hiding or lying or whatever it may be. You come up with coping skills to survive the very toxic environment that you're growing up in, that your brain is not equipped to deal with, not at all. So what tends to happen when, especially if we have narcissists in our lives when we're children, is the behavior of randomly getting angry, the belittling, the minimizing, the making you think that you're the crazy one, the lack of respect for your feelings, the lack of respect for your dignity, things like that. It creates a natural, normal reaction in your nervous system, which is anxiety. Anxiety, in from my experience, are two things. One, it's a very legitimate reaction to a dangerous situation, emotionally, mentally, or physically dangerous situation. And what happens is when you feel anxious, when you're under stress, the blood vessels in your skin actually narrow, because what they're trying to do is not have you feel stressed. Because stress, cortisol, all of those difficult emotions are physical. They're physical chemicals that are released into your body, and that's what you feel. You feel the physical response to fight or flight. And so your body pumps all of these chemicals into your system, trying to survive. And your skin, as a way of coping, helping you not feel as stressed, not experience the stress as much, the blood vessels in the skin tighten. And that can give that feeling of creepy crawly on your skin. It can eventually contribute to fibromyalgia or contribute to other immune disorders, because your body's constantly in that fight or flight, and the immune system is totally worn out, adrenal fatigue, all sorts of stuff, because it's ways that your body is trying to control how stressed you feel. Your everything sort of tightens up. And so when we go get help for, a narcissistic parent or a narcissist romantic partner or sister or brother or uncle or whatever we may be, we can work on the head game all we want. But our nervous system still has that pattern of reaction, that pattern of anxiety. And you know what that's like. Oh, I can't tell you how many years, decades I spent when I would hear a car pull into the driveway. Oh my God, my heart would race, my skin would tingle. Or when I would hear footsteps on the floor above me, my body would automatically, immediately go into that. And if you have a narcissist in your life currently, they actually use that to their advantage. They know that they can trigger you. You're easily triggered, which kind of means that you're easier to control because they know how to push your buttons. They know how to make you upset. And because you have more triggers, more landmines than other people because of your narcissistic experiences that you're having, you're going to trigger fast and your anxiety is going to come up fast. Can you rewire it? Absolutely, positively, without a doubt, you can. And how do you do that? The way you rewire it is to take back the control you have over how you feel. When you recognize that anxiety is a side effect, is a symptom of your body trying to protect itself. I wanted to say the other reason why our anxiety comes up is because we think we're going to be in danger, because we're reminded, of when we were in danger and when we're helpless, and we go right back there. That's why the footsteps would freak me out. That's why the car would freak me out. It would take me right back to when I was a kid and helpless, and who knew how anything was going to turn out, who knew how it would unfold. And then as I got older, that hair trigger anxiety just didn't serve me anymore because all sorts of things would trigger it, normal everyday things. And it puts you into a cycle of constantly feeling anxious and constantly in fight or flight. So how do you break that cycle? Well, that's kind of exactly it. You decide you're going to break the physical cycle of anxiety. A lot of people think that if you go to therapy and you work on the head game, if you work on the thoughts, if you work with a psychologist or something along those lines, that you'll be fixed because what's broken is your brain. Completely forgetting that your whole body is a part of this. So you can fix your brain, and even if you fix your brain, your body is still going to freak out when certain things happen, when certain situations or all the exact elements hit right into your psyche. So to rewire it, you start to recognize when you're in anxiety and you do something to break the experience you're having, to break you away from fight or flight. And when you do that, every time you do that, every time you take back that control and take back that power, you are rewiring your system. You are saying to yourself, look, I'm not powerless. I am safe. There's something I can do about this. So how can you break the fight or flight? Well, you do it through a variety of ways. One is you change your physical sensation. I used to go to parties and parties would freak me out. And I would do something that was opposite, physically opposite of what I was feeling. If I was warm, I would go outside into the cold, middle of winter, shoes off, because the temperature change, the physical sensation change will pop you out of fight or flight. Many times recognizing that you're in fight or flight and that you're actually safe, that can help, although it's not as strong as one would hope. That's kind of what the therapy pushes, is if you recognize you're in fight or flight, that automatically it changes. And it doesn't, because your nervous system is still stuck in that pattern. I will eat something sweet or salty or cold or hot. I will start to move. I'll walk. I'll dance. I'll do exercises. I'll stretch my legs. I'll point my toes. I'll do something physically different. I will get out my herbal remedies. I will make a cup of chamomile tea. I will take my GABA. I will, take any pharmaceuticals that will help me relax. I don't just rely on one thing. And I don't also cut off the idea that there's a lot of herbs and supplements and things that help us stay calm. GABA, G-A-B-A, is one of my favorite. It's a neurotransmitter. Chamomile is amazingly good for that. Valerian root is wonderful. Skullcap, hops. One of the reasons people like beer is because of the hops, but you can get hops separate. It's a plant. A wide variety of herbs that help you stay calm, and teas. Yogi teas are some of my favorites too. So when you're noticing you're anxious, instead of getting caught up in the feeling and feeling trapped and paralyzed without knowing what to do, because that's a natural side effect, instead of doing that, recognize that you can do something different, that you have different choices available to you, that you can change your energy. Now, it feels almost impossible. Because let's say you're walking around or laying in bed and you just have that knot in the pit of your stomach that doesn't go away. It doesn't shift, it doesn't move. It just keeps you completely focused on that feeling. So you need to shift your focus. That's where things like music, that's where things like dance, that's where things like a walk in the woods help, because it helps shift your focus. Maybe you take some time to meditate and focus on your breathing. You shift what you're paying attention to, and that helps break you out. Most people think that there's just one thing, but when you're triggered, and when you're triggered hard from a narcissist, you need to do multiple things to help your body break out of that pattern. Now, the more times you do that, the more times you say, oh, look, I'm anxious. I feel that again. How do I want to handle this before it gets worse, or before hours go by and then you find out that you're still feeling anxious? That's when you make your choices. You say, okay, I need to do something different. I would drink a cold glass of water because it gives my stomach a different sensation. I would drink a glass of cashew milk or almond milk, or something that's easy but gives my stomach something else to do, and it doesn't make my stomach feel queasy or upset more. It's easy on my system. I may take ginger, give my body something to do, and still keep the knot and the nausea under control. If you sit there and think that you're a victim to your anxiety and to your reaction, it absolutely feels that way. It absolutely is. And in some ways you are, because when you trigger, it's automatic. It's not like you have control over it. You suddenly go from conscious, rational, okay self to fight or flight, to your amygdala. It's not something that you can say, oh, I'm going to choose to do this. It's almost like you land in this place of anxiety and now you have to find something to do about it. And so when you give yourself a different experience, when you engage as many senses as you can, because pleasure travels to the brain faster than pain. And so if you do something pleasurable, it can help break the cycle. Start to figure out and notice the things that get you out of fight or flight and keep them around. And when you start to notice when you're feeling anxious, use them. Don't stay in it. Don't even stay in the head game where you're sitting there blaming everybody. Blaming the narcissist, because yes, it absolutely is their fault. Totally, no doubt about it. And blaming them does not help you at all. It just keeps you stuck in that mindset, in that anxiety, in that panic, in that fear. And trying to pretend like it's not happening is just as bad. When you try to pretend that you're not stressed out, when you're not sick, when you're not anxious, when you're not uptight, when you try to pretend that, it sticks around too, because you're never really allowing yourself to flip out of the fight or flight. You're just trying to keep your fight or flight under control. So can you rewire your nervous system? Yes. The more times you do this, the more times you stop and course correct, the more your brain rewires and your nervous system rewires. It hooks up to different things. The rule of thumb is what fires together, wires together. And so when we trigger and things are firing, of course, they're going to bring up the same thoughts, the same experiences, because it's all wired together. But when you make a conscious choice to break that pain cycle, to do something different, to climb out of the hole, it starts to rewire with something different. And you start to feel, you don't get as anxious, you don't trigger as easy. And what happens is you get more and more insight about what's going on. And the more understanding you have about what's going on, about why you trigger, about, the memories or the experiences, the more times you relive those with a different outcome. Let's say the footsteps above my head. If I freak out, but I do something different, I go upstairs, I go outside, I meditate, I take some GABA, I drink a cup of chamomile tea, whatever it may be. The more times I do that, the more something different will rewire together, and it will unhook. It will unhook from the past memories. It will detach from the past memories. And what happens is eventually, while you sleep, these guys come into your brain, these little guys in your body come into your brain, and they clean up the things in your brain that you no longer need, the memories or the ideas or the emotions or the reactions that aren't connected to anything anymore, that have no purpose, that have no meaning, that don't need to be there. And when that happens, your brain is rewired. So it takes a lot less time than you think, but a lot more time than you hope for. But if you stay on the path and you notice it, you're kind of diligent about it as much as you can, you will rewire your nervous system. And the sooner you start this process, the better, because you don't always have to feel like you're high anxiety. There are things that you can do. You don't have to be dependent upon pharmaceuticals in order to cope. You don't have to. You have a lot of options available. And when you use a multi-dimensional approach, when you work on body, mind, and spirit, that's when it works. That's when it pulls together, and your body starts to heal. No one can do it for you, unfortunately. It's your body reacting to the past. And if you don't work on that body piece, if you don't get new memories, new experiences, one of the ways that I do it is when women come in, we feel through the past issues that are coming up, that are being triggered now, and I give them a loving, kind, wonderful experience. So a suggestion is, if you're feeling freaked out, go get a massage that afternoon. Go get some energy work done. Go take a walk in the woods. Do something that helps break that pain cycle. And when you start associating it with positive things like love and kindness and connection and feminine energy and joy and nature and life and possibilities and miracles and magic, when you start to rewire it to that, when you make that different choice, then your body actually, it works much better. So if you feel stuck, this year we're doing a wonderful women's group around narcissism recovery. We're going to go up to 40 before the price changes. And we do the daily live streams. We do weekly sacred talking circles where we come together in community and share and feel open and honest and relaxed and like a breath of fresh air, and we recover. It's an oasis of kindness and niceness and fun, and it's just for women. And so if you're stuck, reach out. I'll send you the link to the page. We're keeping it super affordable for people if they sign up for the year. And if you sign up now for the 6 months, you'll get all of 2020, because we want a good foundation in the group. And it gives it time for the magic to happen, for you to rewire things. Tony Robbins used to say, we overestimate what we can get done in a year, but we underestimate what we can get done in 10 years. It means you have to stay the course. And the way to stay the course is to get other people who are supporting you and loving you, and to keep doing those things which nourish you and move you forward. And when you do that, life gets better every single time. Okay, so reach out, send me a comment, send up a flare, and I'll get you the link. And I would love for you to be a part of the group. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.